Well, after getting this left lever to function last week, I did get the right lever installed as well. Many of you have asked the difference between the two. This left lever actually engages the whole mechanism. The lever on the right-hand side is what governs the speed of the apron, so that actually governs how fast the manure is fed into the beater and hence how much is being spread on the field. And both of these levers are connected to the mechanisms in the rear by these long rods. This one here is actually a double rod, but this goes on the left side and this one goes on the right side. They're both pretty bent up and I'm pretty sure they should be straight, so I'll get those straightened out. On both sides there is another board that extends this side up that I'm guessing are maybe extra shields so this manure as it is picked up by this beater doesn't fall over the side. So these seem to be just an extension of this curve here. So I'm going to trace that just on going around this. Should follow that same curve. So this is just kind of guessing by golly by the pictures that Jeff Marshall has sent me on how this should kind of be. There was nothing left of these upper boards, so I'm just going off of his pictures. You know, over the years you have watched me numerous times use this old bandsaw. In fact, a lot of you early on gave me a lot of harassing about how dangerous it was. I bought this saw probably in '93, I think that's what it was. Gave $400 for it. It has been an absolutely great saw. It has a 26-inch deep throat on it. It run off of a 3-phase 2-horse motor. I have 3-phase in the shop here. And I have cut, I don't know how many thousands of board feet through this saw. Well, a couple weeks ago, I was sawing something out, and all of a sudden, my motor started throwing sparks and howling, so I shut her down quick. I burnt that motor up. This was actually converted to an electric motor sometime, I don't know when that was. Initially, this had a big flat pulley, so it would have been run off of a flat pulley with line shafts and jack shafts. So when this conversion was, I don't know. But this was the new motor that I just stuck on it. It's a 2-horse, 3-phase motor as well. It does still have Babbitt bearings in it, so I do have to keep this oiled up, both on the bottom wheel as well as on the top wheel here. Now I know many of you are aware of this site, Vintage Machinery by Keith Rucker, who builds and rebuilds a lot of this old machinery. He has sites that are related to old woodworking tools, old metalworking tools, and some of my machinery are listed on his sites. But according to that site, Vintage Machinery, Silver Manufacturing split off from Silver and Deming in 1890. So sometime after that, this bandsaw was built. I don't know what that date is, but it has been just a great old saw. I think it can run blades up to 1 inch wide. I actually run a 1/2-inch blade on this. It is a carbide tooth blade. I really have liked that. But you know, it has always been a noisy saw. Strangely enough, now with this new motor, it's fairly quiet. I didn't realize how much of that noise was coming from the motor and not from the saw itself. It still has an old magnetic switch. This is a Square D class 5572. I don't know what that means, but it's a magnetic 3-phase switch that I still use. And I don't know if you'll be able to hear the difference as well as I do, because I'm kind of accustomed to the noise that this saw makes. First time I turned it on, it was like, whoa, this is really quiet now. So I may try to go back to some previous videos where I was running this and run them side by side and see if I can demonstrate just how much quieter this saw is now. Not bad. So I've had this bandsaw for 31 years now, and I had no idea that all the noise that this saw made was because of that motor. Who'd have thunk? So I think this is pretty close how they should be, and there is an 1/8 inch piece of wagon top iron that goes down the side. But I think you can see how it's going to help deter this manure from coming out the side. Well, this twisted up contraption goes on the right side in the back. This is all twisted up. See how it goes. I'm really not totally sure how this works. I know these are the pawls that activate the apron speed. This tin here, I'm sure was a patch. I think the side of the box must have rotted out or broken, and they put that in, I'm guessing. So I'll cut this apart and try to get this straightened back out. This hole here is where the rod goes up to the right lever up in front. So we'll see what we end up with. I'm sure that when we get it apart and cleaned up, it'll tell us just where it went. So the control rod on this left side is actually a combination of two rods. One short one that slides on the long one. So I'm going to pin this onto the front left lever. And it definitely is a tight fit. So this is all the hardware to the left side that kicks the engagement gear in and out. This lever here, this bolt was really rusted out, so I'm going to replace that one. So it looks like disengaged is all the way forward. So the fork on this upright arm is going to straddle this gear here. But also this shield looks like it has to fit between this big gear and its shield as well. Somewhere about right in there. So this arm here is what actually kicks this iron in and out because of these tapered cams. So when that arm is all the way forward, this should set like so on this upright lever here that allows it to go all the way in. And that's where this rod going to the front controls. So I'm wanting it to set, I think, about in here. I want to balance the space of these two shields and get the length of this rod so it corresponds to this arm and this upright lever. Behind this lever is another board, and that shows up on Jeff Marshall's spreader. And it should set in behind here. So this lever has to rotate in and out. So it's fastened by a 1/2-inch bolt, and it has this sleeve that fits in this hole here so that this lever is loose on this bolt. So I'm going to drill that and assemble that with this sleeve that allows the bolt to be tight, but the lever will be loose. So that puts this little shield about halfway between this big bull gear, if that's what it's called, and this shield for this engagement gear, kind of right there in the middle. So this lever should sit right on this hole here. So I'll get that drilled. Oh, before I get too far, there's a plate that goes here. And this little plate allows this lever a surface to swivel on. So the theory would be when this rod and the front left handle is all the way forward and this lever sits down inside the slot, when this lever is moved back, then these cams are supposed to push this lever out, which should disengage that bottom gear. But the way it's setting now, it doesn't disengage, it only comes out about halfway. So I think this needs to set in there a little tighter against this cam lock arm, which would engage these cams sooner and push it out further. So maybe I need to play with these bends a little bit. See if I can't fine-tune that. Okay, that helped that a lot. But I was looking at disengaging the wrong gears. I was looking at this gear. That one doesn't need to disengage. Actually, it's the gears from this engagement gear to this drive sprocket that goes to the beater. That's what needs to disengage. And when I pull that lever, it does. So that's the one I wasn't looking at correctly. So while this is being driven, this gear is still going to turn with the wheel, and this one is going to turn with this gear, but it's not engaging the drive sprocket in behind. And that's what this is all designed to do. So I learned something. That engages the drive sprocket. So then there's this second rod. It's a short rod, and it has a collar here that is adjustable with a set screw. And that's going to come back to this upper part of this beater assembly. I'll pin that real quick here. So there we're disengaged. Engaged. Well, I've seen in the pictures of Jeff Marshall's that there's a little clip here that holds the flex out of this rod, which would be beneficial, is as I operate that, you can see this flex quite a bit. So if this were kept stationary in its proper place, that flex would be eliminated and it'd be more positive on that rear lever. So even though I adjusted this a little bit, I don't think it was really significant, and I probably didn't need to do that. I didn't look at the proper gear. You know, that's oftentimes how we get to be. We can get to be so focused that we only see what we want to see. And it's not until we kind of step back sometime and look at the whole picture and go, I wasn't seeing that part. And that was the case here. I wanted this gear to engage when in fact it was the inner gear that was the most important gear. Live and learn. Appreciate you coming along. Thanks for watching.